My name's Laraine Morris, I'm 60, I'm the mother of 4 and a grandmother of 8. Just because I'm 60 it doesn't mean that I can't make the most of myself and wear makeup every day. People think that when you get older you shouldn't look like mutton dressed up as lamb is a common terminology that a lot of people use, and actually I totally disagree. If we were going to a special function and we were the star turn of the function, a special party or a dinner, we would make sure that our hair and makeup was nice for the event. Well, why not be the star of your day and make the most of yourself? It takes no more than 10, maybe 15 minutes in the morning to apply some makeup, to look after your skin and make the most of yourself. Earlier this year I was diagnosed with skin cancer in various parts of my body, but predominantly on my face. The treatment was quite challenging, to say the least, and the effects on my skin were really quite devastating. I'm still bearing the scars of the treatment, although each day I believe these scars are healing. So what was important, you can see on the side of my face here, across my eyebrow and down on my nose. I'm very conscious of these marks, and it's very important for me that I cover the marks using makeup. The skin cancer's also made me extra sensitive around the sun, so therefore I take particular care with my sun protection every day, and makeup is the perfect opportunity to do this. I've got pigmentation problems because when you get postmenopausal you do develop pigmentation, even if in your younger days that you never had it, but makeup camouflages the pigmentation as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through my makeup application, my daily routine, and give you some tips on how to apply makeup to make the most of yourself. And if, like me, you've got pigmentation, you may have scarring, or you may have, like myself, suffered from skin cancer, I'll give you some tips on how to camouflage the marks from the skin cancer. I also get quite dark circles under my eyes periodically. I've got one of my children has got a life-threatening disease, and she does spend a lot of time in and out of hospital, and we do a lot of medical care at home. So many a night we get lots of unbroken sleep, and sometimes I'm up all night, but come the next day I still have to look my best so that I can commence my day feeling confident in myself. Makeup does give us confidence. It creates an illusion, and it's very important for me to feel comfortable with myself, and I can when I apply my makeup. So the important thing here is to prepare your skin. We prepare our skin by using a good quality moisturiser, and we will talk about this a bit later. One thing I would like to say is that once you've applied the moisturiser, after a few minutes the moisturiser would have been soaked into the skin, and that's it. So whatever's left as a residue on the skin needs to be removed. So just using a clean tissue, just remove the excess moisturiser from your skin. This is really important because you don't want the makeup slipping and sliding. The other thing, never apply makeup to the neck area. Lots of people are tempted to do that. We have lots of folds and creases in our neck, whether we're young or older. And also we wear perfume, so therefore the makeup, the perfume, the folds, it forms lines, not to mention going all over our clothing. So makeup really should end at the jawline. As I said earlier, I've got suffering from skin cancer, so therefore I want to pay particular attention to sun protection every day. I use a corrective foundation product, which is a foundation-based product, which is called a primer. The product that I use on my skin has got an SPF factor of 50. That gives me complete sunblock from the UV rays of the sun. And remember, we need to take care of that whether the sun's shining or not. So we apply a small amount of the primer, and always make sure that the product you buy is a good match to your skin tone. The product I'm using is a Chanel product. It's called CC. It's got an SPF factor of 50, it's moisturising and it's hydrating. So therefore my skin is being hydrated whilst it's being protected. It's got a great coverage, so therefore it does cover pigmentation and dark circles, and it acts as a brilliant base for your foundation. The great thing about this product as well is it can be worn on its own. So if you're away on holiday, you can use it. I've also done a similar video to this called How to Apply Makeup on Days That You Don't Want to Wear Makeup. So we apply this to the palm of our hand, and the natural heat from our body will warm the makeup up and it will start to change colour, because this is what happens with makeup. When we apply it to our skin is warm, and therefore the makeup warms up and changes colour, which is why you can never choose the makeup on the palm of your hand. Equally, as you get older, more so than when you're younger, never choose the makeup by applying it to the jaw. The jaw is the prime area where we're going to get pigmentation, more so than anywhere else. So if you are testing makeup, always test it on your forehead. So I'm applying this primer all over my face, paying particular attention not to take it down onto the neck, and also include the eyelids as well. It's very, very important that the primer goes everywhere. This will neutralise out colour, protect the skin, hydrate and moisturise the skin. When you're choosing your product, make sure you choose a product that suits you. Now, another little tip for blending around the hairline is using your fingertips, a gentle scissor action all the way around the hairline and under the jaw. And if you are concerned about excess or makeup going into the hairline, take a piece of tissue over your finger and just do the same thing and scissor it all round. And this prevents that typical tide line that a lot of people have. So that's the primer. Now we're going to use our foundation. A lot of people ask, why do we use a foundation? Foundation is very important. If you want your makeup to last all day, and a good makeup should last for 8 hours. Notice I'm doing the same technique. I'm applying it to the palm of my hand and spreading, so my body temperature is starting to warm up the makeup. So again, foundation acts as a protection. It evens out skin tone, hydrates and moisturises the skin. I'm obviously doing this slightly slower than I would in front of the bathroom mirror on my own, to give you a chance to see what I'm doing. Always apply to the eyelid as well. And again, we use the scissor action to make sure we've blended. And what we've done is we've evened over the tone. So I'm going to use my tissue again, and I'm going to scissor to prevent any lines. So we've applied the makeup. Now we need to seal it. If we don't seal it, it's not going to last 8 hours. I did mention I've got the scars from the cancer, so I'm going to use a concealer before I apply the powder, because once I've set the makeup, I don't want to mess it about. I'm using quite a strong, what I call a pan stick. It's a Max Factor product. I like it because it's got very good coverage. So just a tiny amount of this dabbed over the scar area. It will look slightly lighter up against the makeup, but don't worry about that, because we will camouflage that with the powder. Also, this is quite useful if you do have dark circles, and sadly my child is really quite unwell at the moment, so I've had no sleep for about 3 days. And it's quite useful to just put a little bit of this under the eye, and when you use a lighter product than your natural foundation, remember that lighter colours will highlight, so therefore it's going to make under the eyes look a little bit lighter. Now we're going to seal the makeup, and the best way to seal the makeup is using a powder. You can use a translucent powder, which is no colour, so it suits any skin tone, and that will literally just set the makeup. I've also got a different type of powder, which is a moisturising and hydrating powder. But for now, using a powder brush, I'm just going to apply some loose powder to set the makeup. Don't apply powder around the eye area. Powder will accentuate fine lines and wrinkles, so do not apply it to the eye area. Pander out the eyes, just apply it to the face. Now the makeup is set. Again, we want to make sure that we've not got any tide lines. So using the tissue, I'm just going to scissor all the way around the hairline. To blend it in, just taking off the residue. This time of the year, being the sort of summer season, a lot of people like to add a bit of colour. I might not do this every day, but for the purpose of the video, I'm going to apply it now. I've also got a compact powder, which you can have to powder your nose, as they say, if you have got a slightly oily skin, to just powder over throughout the day. Although really you shouldn't need to do that. I've got a blusher. I've got a bronzer. We're not at the blusher yet. And I'm just going to apply a little dusting of bronzer, just to give me a little bit of summer sun-kissed feeling. Some people use a bronzing powder instead of a translucent powder, and that's fine. I'm just going to lightly dust over, because I can feel tiny hairs come out of the brush. It's awful when that happens. Tickling away all day. And again, always scissor all the way around. We're now going to apply a little bit of blusher, and then our face is done. So, using a blusher brush, the best way to apply blusher is to smile slightly to get your jawline, and just over the side of the cheekbone. So, just a little dusting of blusher. And I've got this glitz, I call it glitz, it's just a star bronzer. I just give it one little pump, but I use this just to smooth it all in and brush it all in. Now I feel confident that I've toned up, I've camouflaged my cancer scars, I've evened up the pigmentation, and I know that my base makeup is going to stay in place all day. Usually I put makeup on in the morning somewhere between 6:30 and 7:30 before I start my day, and I often work very late, sometimes not getting home till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, but my makeup stays in place all day, and that's very important. I've just got a little bit of lip moisturiser here, just going to apply just to soften the lips a little bit. Now we get on to the exciting bit, the eyes. A couple of things I want to talk to you about the eyes. If you look at my eyelid, my eyelashes, there's a big gap between my eyelashes and my actual eyelid. So whatever I do to the makeup, you'll always see that ridge. And my eyelashes are quite fair and they're very sparse. So what I use is an eyeliner, a waterproof eyeliner, to enhance the eyelashes. So I put a tiny black line underneath the eyes, and the eyelashes then will look thicker, darker and stronger. I'll show you how to do that when we get to that stage. Another little tip is when applying eye makeup, remember lighter colours will highlight accentuate areas that you want to accentuate, such as the iris of your eye. Our eyes are said to be the windows of our soul. So the iris, the coloured part of the eye, should be accentuated. So we need to highlight that to bring the colour out. Darker colours are more corrective, and they should be used in a way that will enhance but also will correct. If your eyes are very close together, for example, don't use dark colours on the inside, use it on the outside to give the illusion of opening the eyes up. Equally, if there's a big gap from the eyes, use darker colours to give the illusion of closing the eyes. I'm going to use a very simple daytime technique using a very neutral colour of taupe and cream, and I'm going to highlight with white. The procedure that I'm going to follow you can do using anything from 2, 4, 6, even 8 colours and blending them all in. It's about the technique. The reason I'm going with neutral colours is it's a great day look. You can easily transform a day look to an evening look if you are at the office all day, or you're wearing your makeup all day and suddenly get the opportunity to go out in the evening rather than reapply the makeup. You can just put an eyeliner on, and I'll show you how to do that. The first thing we're going to do is the eyebrows. Now the eyebrows are very often something that people miss because they think their eyebrows are quite dark or they don't know how to apply the eyebrow makeup. I think the eyebrows frame the eyes, therefore they're a very important part of the makeup application. I always use an eyebrow makeup, specific eyebrow makeup. The colour I use the lighter shade during the day, and if I am going out in the evening and it's darker lights, I will go slightly darker with the darker shade. The key to good eyebrow makeup, you can use a pencil. The only thing with using a pencil is the pressure of your hand needs to be the same for both eyes, and it's not necessarily. And sometimes when you are doing makeup on somebody else, the pencil can be a bit shaky. You can use ordinary eyeshadow if it's the right colour. What's the key to a good eyebrow makeup is the brush. Always use an eyebrow brush which has got a slightly slanted angle and it's stronger. It's harder than an eyeshadow brush. And eyebrows, naturally we have eyebrows and they are strong and coarse, the hair quality, because they're designed to prevent sweat dripping into our eyes. So therefore the eyebrow hair is stronger and coarser. So I'm going to apply a small amount of the eyebrow makeup, tap the brush to take off any excess because that prevents it dripping on your face. And then I'm going to apply the eyebrow makeup to the eyebrow. Don't overdo it at first because you can always go back and get a little bit more makeup. And if you're doing a day look, you want it to stay natural. And then you can see the difference between the eye that's got the eyebrow makeup and the eye that hasn't. And I think you'll agree the one with looks like it's been lifted and the other looks slightly heavier. And I'm applying this in gentle little strokes, filling in the gaps. And even if you've got very, very dark eyebrows, you'll naturally have gaps because that's how the hair grows. You can also use the eyebrow makeup to correct eyebrows. take the eyebrow brush from the tip of the nose straight up is where the eyebrow should start. Tip of the nose to the end of the corner of the eye, that's where the eyebrow should end. And so if your eyebrows are slightly back to where they should be, just put a little bit of eyebrow makeup in to build it up. And equally, that's where they should end. As you get older, if you drop the eyebrows down too low, it's going to make your eyelid look very droopy. Taking an eyebrow brush, just brush out the eyebrow for a natural look. Now we're going to start with the eyeshadow. As I said earlier, I'm going with a neutral colour. I'm going with a taupe being the darker colour and just a creamy beige for the base. Now remember we said that we don't put powder on the eyelid. So the primer and the foundation has been applied to the eyelid, but it hasn't been set. So if you don't set it, what's going to happen is makeup will go into the creases of the eye, and then you'll have that makeup collecting in the crease of the eye look all day. So what we do is we take the lighter colour, this being the cream, and we apply it to our applicator. I like using these little sponge disposable applicators. You get a great coverage with it. They're quite easy to use and the product works well. So we're going to apply this cream, nice light colour all over the eye, and this is doing two things. It's neutralising the colour, so it's giving the eyelid all one colour. Because it's a powder, it's also sealing the foundation and the primer. One thing I will say, as you get older, try to avoid too many sparkly colours because they do tend to accentuate fine lines and wrinkles. And now I'm just going to apply to the other eye. Just check to make sure that you've got an even coverage. Now we mentioned earlier accentuating the eyelash, and I'm also going to use a colour under the eye. The colour I'm going to use today for a daytime use is Iris. It's a really lovely purpley blue, and I'm going to just apply a small amount of this under the eyelid. I sometimes use blue, marine blue, sometimes brown. I'll only ever use black under the eyes like this if it's a evening function and I want quite a dramatic look. You need to be careful with too much black as you get older. But it's a nice sunny day today outside and I fancy a sunny colour, and Iris is a lovely sunny colour. I'm going to take black. This is a Chanel Stylo waterproof product. I like these because they stay. And just gently lift the eyelid and apply under the eye, close to the eyelash. Now look at the difference between the eye that I've applied and the eye that I haven't got the makeup on. I might just put a little bit under here. So you can see before and after. And I think you'll agree that the eye with the enhancement looks much better, and it certainly will once the mascara goes on. So now I'm going to put the enhancer under the other eye. nice and close. You can use any black product, but my advice is if you're doing anything around your eye area, buy a product that's a good quality. And waterproof is perfect because the eyes are naturally quite watery. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the taupe. So I'm going to apply the darker colour of the eyeshadow. And I start in the corner on the outside, always click off the excess. So apply to the outside corner. And you can use any colours. I mean, today I'm using this colour, but you can use blues, pinks and burgundies, greens. Pink and green's lovely. If you're doing bridal makeup, you can use all the colours that the bride's got in their bouquet or the bridesmaids. But the application is the same. So you'll notice I've put it on darker on the edge. I will be blending this in and I'll show you how to do that. Slightly lighter on the inside, but I've deliberately left a gap where the iris of the eye, the coloured part of the eye is, because I want to accentuate that. So we apply this to the eye. And then I'm going to apply to the other side. Don't rush this bit because this is really going to be make or break of how it looks. When people see this finish, they think it's so tricky the way you've done it, but it's really simple. People can make it look quite complicated, but it isn't. So we've got the darker colour on. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a white. This is a bourgeois, just a plain white. And I'm just going to apply the white right over where the iris is, in this gap that I've left. And then I'm going to apply to the other eye. And then I'm going to take the dark, I'm not putting any more product on, I'm just using the same sponge that I've applied the dark, and I'm literally just blending it all in. Softening it as I go. Stand back and just sit back and just make sure that the two colours, the two eyes match. Now you've got your smoky eye look. And what might have appeared to have been quite dark at the start soon lightens up when you put the white on. Take the corners off slightly with your tissue. I always just keep the tissue that I've done the scissoring around the forehead because it's got a little residue of what you've got on the face. So when you dust it off, you're not taking the makeup off, you're putting a bit back. If I'm going out in the evening, then I can substitute, this is lovely, it's a really sparkly taupe. And it gives you a lovely sparkly finish. And again, the white I substitute for this, If I just put a little bit on the back of my hand, you'll see it's absolutely amazing. If you watch TV, some of the reality shows, the Strictly Come Dancing, those sort of shows, and you see when the camera comes up for an interview, you see all the makeup really sparkling. This is the kind of thing that's used, this lovely sparkly makeup. Also, I've got this other tricky little makeup which I love. Might put a bit on one eye. And this has got little bits of sparkling as well. Let me put a little tiny bit on, you can see the difference. Gives a lovely, be really careful though, because it gives a lovely sparkly look. I don't know if you can see the difference there between the two. But I better sparkle up the other eye now, otherwise I'll be walking around with a sparkly eye all day. Just blend that in. And then we're ready for the mascara. Now if I was just doing a day look, this would be great, and I'd just apply the mascara. If you was going out in the evening and you wanted a more dramatic look, you could apply some eyeliner. You could use the same product that you've got under the eye, just tracing along the hairline of the eyes. And you could make this as, would help if I pushed it up a bit, as thick or as thin as you want it to be. I'm using the iris again because it is a daytime, but if I was going out in the evening you could use any colour. And this is quite nice, it just gives you a little bit more accentuation of the upper eyelid, which is really quite nice for an evening look. So as you can see, I've applied the iris colour eyeliner to the top of the lid, which is great if you're going out in the evening. It's a great evening look. It still looks good during the day, and you can see the difference between the eye that's got the eyeliner and the eye that hasn't. So if you were putting your makeup on first thing in the morning, this is a great look. And then if you got invited out, do you want to sort of dress the makeup up slightly without reapplying, just whack a bit of eyeliner on the top. I'll leave the eyes, one with and one without, and I'll apply the mascara so that you can see the difference. Because I've got very fine, very sparse, very short eyelashes, I always use a volumizing primer. This one is Revitalash because it's got products in it that help your eyelashes to grow. So this is blue. It doesn't really stay blue, but it's blue to look at. So I just apply a bit of this. And it just coats the eyelash, and it will make the eyelash look a little bit longer, thicker. Give that a second to dry, and then I'll apply the mascara. When you're applying the mascara, just wiggle your brush slightly at the root, and it will help to lift the eyelash. Another really useful tip is if you have got a hairdryer handy, zoom it with a hairdryer, and it dries the eyelashes instantly and pushes them up. If you want to wear eyelashes, put the eyelashes on obviously before you put any mascara. But as you can see, my eyelashes are really sparse. Always give it a few minutes to dry. If you want to apply a second coat of mascara. Try not to avoid building the mascara up too much, because it's not really necessary. There are some very, very good products on the market, but the key to mascara, more than the product, is the brush. Quick dusting with the brush and the makeup's finished, and I'll put a little bit of lip gloss on. 10 minutes, the beginning of your day, and you'll be set up for the day. So I'm just going to use just a little bit of neutral lip gloss. If you prefer to wear lipstick, always wear a good quality lip liner. Lip liner will stop the lipstick bleeding, keep it in place, and accentuate the line of your lips. And remember, with a lip liner, you can correct lips that are not regular shape. I'll dress my hair out and let you have a look at the finished result. But as you can see, the eye with the eyeliner has got a slightly different look to the eye without the eyeliner. So it's personal preference. I've used just 2 colours and a little bit of white highlighter, but you can use this technique using a variety of colours. I've used up to 6 or 8 even, and got a great look. Play around with makeup, but the important thing about makeup is use it. It does make you feel good, it makes you feel happy, it puts a smile on your face.